I don't think anyone expected the trade deadline we ended up getting. Just a few days ago, I was talking about the possibility of the deadline being headlined by a Mason Plumlee trade. There wasn't a world I saw as having one of the craziest deadlines we've ever seen, but who are the winners and losers? Now, I think we've got to start with the trade that everyone is talking about, and that's one of the biggest trades in NBA history that saw Kevin Durant and TJ Warren sent to the Phoenix Suns for a massive package of Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, Jay Crowder, 4 first-round picks, and a pick swap. For the Suns, it has to be a win. It's one of those unique situations where what's given up is somewhat irrelevant. This team's been on the brink of a championship, but the window seemed like it was shrinking. They got aggressive and landed one of the best players on the planet to put alongside Chris Paul, Devin Booker, and DeAndre Ayton. Yes, it was a lot to give up, but these are the type of packages it takes to get a top player in the league. These aren't the type of packages that should be going for a player like Rudy Gobert, but that's a conversation for another day. Overnight, Phoenix went from a team that people were starting to write off, especially with the impending decline of Chris Paul, to arguably the favorites to come out of the Western Conference. It's fine to be nervous when it comes to these massive packages, but the goal in this league is to win a championship, and sometimes you have to risk your future to reach that goal. Now for the Nets, it's a little bit more interesting. The first domino to fall with them was Kyrie Irving requesting a trade, eventually going to the Dallas Mavericks along with Markieff Morris for Spencer Dinwiddie, Dorian Finney-Smith, a 2029 first-round pick, and 2 seconds. I think this Kyrie trade is probably going to go down as a minor L, as it was made with the intention of remaining competitive in the East, but then they would go on to trade Kevin Durant, throwing those plans out the door. These packages were okay, but you have to have them as losers. They lost 2 of the best players in the league, and a rebuild doesn't really seem like an option, with several of their upcoming first-round picks going to Houston, who just might have emerged as the biggest winner from this deadline, something I don't really think anyone's talking about. I think there's a very real chance that Brooklyn's headed towards the dreaded NBA middle ground. It isn't necessarily their fault, but yes, they're losers. Now, speaking of that Mavericks trade, I've gone back and forth several times, but I do lean Dallas being winners. There is no doubt it was a huge risk. Giving up 2 starters and a first for a guy that could potentially leave you in free agency, that is a risk. But it's a weighted risk. That was somewhat baked into the price they paid for Kyrie. The Mavericks have one of the best players on the planet. They need to get aggressive. They need to take gambles on expiring, so I think they made the right move. I'm not really sure it changes their current season forecast all that much, but in the event of an extension, I think they could have a really solid foundation here. Today's video is sponsored by Bear Mattress, a premium mattress designed to upgrade your sleep, improve your lifestyle, and overall quality of life. If you go to the Bear website, they have a quiz you can take which just asks about you and your sleeping tendencies to match you with the perfect mattress. I took the quiz and just recently upgraded to Bear, which has easily been one of the best decisions I've made in a while. You forget just how important a good mattress is till you have one. It's truly been the best sleep of my life. Once you order a Bear mattress, they ship it to your door for free in the US, and it comes in a surprisingly small box. Then when you open up the packaging, you get the fun experience of seeing it expand into a full-size mattress. Now, if for any reason you're not satisfied with your sleep on Bear, which would be rather surprising, they have a 120-night sleep trial to test the mattress and ensure you love it. It also comes with a lifetime warranty, and Bear has financing options and flexible payment plan. If you guys want to check out Bear, go to the link in the description, and if you use code JIMMER, they're actually going to give you 25% off a new mattress. Thank you, Bear Mattress, for sponsoring today's video. Now, the next trade I want to talk about involved a lot of guys we expected to get traded. I just didn't think it would go down like this. We're talking about the 3-team deal that saw the Lakers give up Russell Westbrook in a 2027 first for D'Angelo Russell, Malik Beasley, and Jared Vanderbilt. The Jazz gave up Mike Conley and second-round picks for Russell Westbrook and the first from the Lakers, and the Timberwolves gave up D'Angelo Russell to bring in Mike Conley. Now, there's a lot to break down here, but I do think that there were some clear winners and losers that emerged. I think we have to have the Lakers as winners. I don't think this is deadline domination as some believe, but I think they did a good job considering their options. Earlier in the deadline, they got Rui Hachimura for basically second-round picks. They then get rid of Westbrook, who at the end there seemed like a locker room detriment. They gave up a first-round pick, but they get D'Angelo Russell, whose value is debated, but right now is averaging an efficient 18 points a game. This team needs high-volume perimeter shooting. This team needs a perimeter shot creator. They get that with Russell. They also get another knockdown shooter in Malik Beasley that this season is putting up nearly 9 threes a game, shooting 36%. I think that addition is slept on. Just 3 seasons ago, we saw what he was capable of once getting traded to Minnesota, where he was averaging 21 points as a 43% three-point shooter. They also get Vanderbilt, who's a super solid defender and great rotation piece. Now, they ended up making a couple other trades that I'm pretty neutral on. They traded away Thomas Bryant, clearing the way to send Patrick Beverley to the Magic for Mo Bamba. It saves them nearly $30 million in luxury tax penalty, so with it not really being a needle mover, I guess it's fine. I don't think the Lakers needed to give up everything for a big name. We know what LeBron and AD are capable of if they go into the playoffs fully healthy. This team needed to add depth, and they did that. It might not work out, but I'm confident that would be due to health more than anything else. I think they're winners. Another winner here is the Jazz. You guys know I made it very clear they needed to be sellers, and while I think they could have gone further, they got worse at the deadline, so it's a success. They also got out of the money they owe Mike Conley next season. I'm not sure if they're going to buy out Westbrook or not, but regardless, losing Beasley, Vanderbilt, and Conley shatters a lot of their depth, something that I think is a massive reason they've been so competitive this year. They set themselves up to make a run for lottery position, and in the process, picked up a first-round pick. Impressive. Now for the Timberwolves, I'm going loser. Yes, Conley might be a marginally better fit than Russell, but that's even up for debate. Conley this season is shooting less than 41% from the field, he's 35 years old, and still has another massive year on his contract. I'm not neutral on this one whatsoever. They did not get better and added a questionable contract. A team that's come out of the deadline as one of the biggest losers by far is the Toronto Raptors. I know all the Raptors fans that were just pleading for a rebuild a couple days ago are going to try and convince themselves that this was the right decision, but we all know they don't believe that. The Raptors should have been the furthest thing from buyers at this deadline, but they decided to kick things off by trading for Spurs center Jakob Poeltl, giving up Kim Birch, a 2024 protected first-round pick, and 2 future seconds. The protections better be crazy for this to make any kind of sense. Now, the Raptors being losers has nothing to do with Poeltl. He's a super solid player that they got at a nice price. But as we've been talking about recently, the Raptors are in a tough position. They've got some really solid individual pieces, but right now sit with a record of 26-30. Gary Trent Jr. and Fred VanVleet are both going to be free agents this offseason. Both Siakam and Anunoby are projected to be free agents next offseason. It was blatantly clear that a rebuild was the best path forward, but instead they doubled down on this group, getting Poeltl, that I don't really think changes the projection of their season very much. Now, they're not the only team that are massive losers for their lack of moves. A team that really jumps out is the Chicago Bulls. We talked about it a lot recently, but this current group has no hope. Vucevic isn't expiring, DeRozan has 1 year left, and it's hard to project his production past that given his age. Lonzo Ball is still sidelined indefinitely. It was time to blow things up, but once again, they did absolutely nothing. I think for the exact opposite reasons, you would have to have the Heat as losers. They seem to be one of the favorites to be buyers, but we didn't hear a word for them. A trade that I thought was pretty interesting was a 3-way deal between the Warriors, Hawks, and Pistons. The Pistons ended up giving up Sadiq Bey and acquired James Wiseman. The Warriors lost James Wiseman, but landed 5 second-round picks, and the Hawks ended up with Bey. Now, I'm sure the Warriors would have loved to do the Bey for Wiseman swap by itself and leave the Hawks out of this, but this move for the Warriors really came down to escaping some of their ridiculous luxury tax. Their hands were kind of forced here. I guess in a sense, I would consider them a loser, as they finally had to face reality that they used the 2nd overall pick in the draft in 2020 for a guy that they traded a couple years later for 2nd-round picks. Now, they ended up making another move, which I absolutely love, basically trading those 5 second-round picks to get Gary Payton Jr. He's only played 15 games this season due to injury, but he returned a few weeks ago, and he's been playing really solid. You really can't ask for a better backup at Golden State, which we saw last season. For the Pistons, I like it. Bey projects to be a really solid 3-and-D wing going forward, but given their situation, they need to be shooting for the moon, and there's just no denying they get more upside with Wiseman. I've honestly loved some of their recent risk-taking, going for guys like Bagley and now Wiseman. For the Hawks, I think there's no denying it was an amazing trade. Anytime you can turn irrelevant second-round picks into a young 3-and-D wing with upside, I think you're a winner. Now, going back to a team we just mentioned, I think the Blazers emerged as one of the biggest losers from the deadline. They just can't decide what they want to do. They traded McCollum a year ago, and it seems like a rebuild might even be in the cards, but then they go out and trade for Jeremy Grant and sign Gary Payton. Then at this year's deadline, they trade Hart to the Knicks for Cam Reddish and a first, then trade Gary Payton after finally getting him back on the court. These are moves we see from a tanking team, but they're set on keeping Damian Lillard and remaining competitive. It really makes absolutely no sense to me. They need to make up their mind, and quickly. Now, a team that ran the deadline kind of under the radar was the Clippers. They traded for Mason Plumlee, giving up Reggie Jackson, which I thought was a solid move and made absolutely zero sense for the Hornets. We then saw the Clippers give up John Wall and Luke Kennard and pick up Eric Gordon. Kennard ended up going to the Grizzlies, and the Rockets escaped the money owed to Eric Gordon. I think it was a great move for all three. But then possibly the biggest fleece of the deadline was the Clippers trading away 2 second-round picks for Bones Highland, a player that in just his 2nd season in the league is averaging 12 points in 19 minutes a game, shooting 38% from 3. This is someone with 2 more years left on a rookie scale contract. There's just no risk associated whatsoever. I have no idea how the Clippers pulled this off. They turned Kennard, Jackson, John Wall, and 2nd-round picks into Eric Gordon, Bones Highland, and Mason Plumlee. Honestly, a deadline masterclass. There were several other little trades, such as the Pelicans trading for Josh Richardson, which I thought was okay, and the 76ers getting Jalen McDaniels, which I liked, but these were the main ones I wanted to talk about. I know it's kind of all over the place, but that's how deadline day is. To wrap things up, my big winners are the Suns, Lakers, Clippers, Hawks, Rockets, and Jazz. My big losers are the Raptors, Blazers, Heat, Bulls, Timberwolves, Nets, and Hornets. I didn't talk about them too much, but I don't think they got nearly enough in return, giving up Plumlee and McDaniels, and in the process, adding Reggie Jackson, which made no sense. Then there's the Dallas Mavericks, but as I said earlier, I'm leaning towards winners, but I keep flip-flopping. We'll see where I land. But that's the video, guys. You guys give me your thoughts in the comments below. Who was your biggest winner? Who was your biggest loser? And I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.